for me to take questions.
Question, sir.
Yes, Mr.
There's a TV commercial out now that's resonating with many people in our district. And in that commercial is a store owner saying how people must come to his store with a calculator and a pad to add up because of the new taxes, the soda tax, salt tax, all these other taxes. If you were indeed the governor, with the mechanisms that are in place, how would you give relief to A, the store owner, and the people, the consumer?
Well, let me just give you an example, because what we hear out of the politicals is that there's a certain part of the budget they have control over, and the rest of it is all mandates and entitlements, and they have no control. Bull. Bull. They have all the control. We in the state of New York have Medicaid benefits established that are twice that of the next highest state, California. In other words, there's a federal base, there's a California options, and then there's us. 100% higher than California in cost. If I just bring the optional benefits on Medicaid down to the California level, we save $20 billion. $10 billion of that goes to the feds. $5 billion goes to the local governments, and $5 billion is saved by the state. You want to see cuts? Wait till I get a hold of that state education department. Wait till I get a hold of that higher education department, okay? And I'm studying them giving aliens, meaning people from other places. They're giving them subsidized tuitions. Did you agree to give aliens subsidized tuition? Did you vote for that?
No.
Americans never got a vote.
Go to school.
Yes, sir.
If you were the chief executive of New York, what would your response be if the Attorney General of the United States decided to hold terrorist trials in Manhattan?
I'm going to reopen one. I don't know if you tried. These are prisoners of war. Okay, you're not going to spend $250 million to a show, a theatrical profession on the backs of the taxpayers, and give these people rights that hard-working Americans work for every day. It's disgusting what that man up in Washington is about. Okay, and I think he's already received the response from the state of New York. At least the people have spoken. We don't want him here. We don't want his terrorists here. All right, we're not interested in that nonsense. We're sensitive to 9/11. We're sensitive to what happened. And it's disgusting. I know tragedy. Yes, sir.
Carl, how you doing? I'd just like to ask you, would you support this year an initiative to get on the ballot for a citizens referendum for a recall of our senators and for our representatives who no longer speak for the people?
I will, I'll immediately call for a constitutional convention. And I'm inviting for that constitutional convention, legislation for a proposition. Another element will be that any redistricting done by a redistricting commission will be approved not by a bunch of silly politicians and politicals. It will be approved by a People's Congress of Constitutional Convention every 10 years. We'll have them come back every 10 years, review the Constitution for updating, and do the people's work. Because the delegates to a Constitutional Convention cannot be elected officials. Okay, you get 2 from each senatorial district, and you elect them. You send them there, and then they get to mess with the document. Okay. Yes, we're going back to the Constitution. Enough of this nonsense. And open borders and allowing these aliens to come in. It's not the right way. We know that. Who made us the keepers of the poor and disenfranchised of the world? Enough is enough. We're not. We're hardworking people. We earned our way here. Don't tell us you're going to give amnesty to immigrants. That's unfair and it's wrong. It's a slap in the face to all of our forefathers. It's a slap in the face to all the people that worked hard to get here. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my
constitutional convention. By the wording of our Constitution, it's either 20 years that it has to go to a referendum of the people, or by vote of a majority of the Senate and Assembly. Well, you know, Sheldon hasn't been allowing that vote to come to the floor. But he won't be worrying about that next year. He'll be up in Attica trying to figure out how to get in the shower alone.
I met with Steve Levy a month ago, and he refused to answer my question about nullification, and he kicked my Second Amendment right question over to the federal government, which I was very disappointed in. He begins and ends with being a fiscal conservative, and his core principles do not match the Tea Party, which I have started in northern Westchester. So can you please address nullification of this healthcare bill at the state level? Thank you.
Well, I'll just say one more thing about Steve. 3 weeks ago, Steve was pitching to the Democratic Party his social values. Okay? He was pitching them saying, I believe in abortion. I believe in gun control. Okay, Steve, now he wait a minute, he changed his suit. He's got a different suit on.
Right.
Okay, so all of a sudden he's a different person.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's got a reputation, okay, for fiscal responsibility. I'm not going to knock that. I'm not going to take it away from him. I'm going to distinguish myself, though, by saying to you very unequivocally, I have that additional thing. I got the ability at the process. I'm a very determined person. I'm going to Albany on a mission. I need all of you with me. I need you to join me. And not just in the election process. I need you to join me and participate in your government. Help us take Albany apart and reinstill the rights back in the people.
Yeah, I'm Barry Sullivan. Do you believe the use of eminent domain should be used to take private property for private development?
Not for private development, for public purpose only. Only for public purpose. You have to, I think the Supreme Court went a little bit too far, okay, without question. To take someone's property and then turn it over for a private type development, it's not fair, okay? You can't allow that, it's never been fair. But if there's a public purpose, and I'm talking about a substantial material public purpose, if we need it, okay, for a hospital, if we need it for something that is true public purpose, that's something you make up, like we're going to build we're talking about in West New York, we're talking about we're going to build an ice rink there. Well, that isn't necessarily a real public purpose, okay? But if it's something material and substantial, then yes, we should have eminent domain.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope you will join me in this effort. We're for real, all of us. Let's make sure they know that. We're for real. Thank you.